This is the southwest of England. We're flying over Exmoor National Park, which is partly in Somerset and partly in Devon. And here, on the southern boundary of Exmoor, on the banks of the River Barle, is Dulverton. This small and remote country town is a hub for the local farming community and a residential population both within the town and across the moor. The idyllic setting and local amenities also make it popular for visitors to the national park. It has often been described as an 18th century market town, but the history of Dulverton goes back much further, and running through the town, almost as though you wouldn't notice, is an exceptionally well-preserved example of ingenious medieval technology that powered almost 800 years of continuous industry. We're talking about a weir, a leat, and watermills, collectively known as an urban watermill landscape. A leat, by the way, is a man-made watercourse to provide water for mills. We have been researching this feat of 13th century engineering to try and understand why Dulverton was chosen as the location and how it was all designed and built. Our starting point is upstream of the town, where you can see a sharp bend in the river. A short distance downstream is the weir. There are two essential elements to medieval watermill landscapes: an abundant, reliable flow of water and a significant drop in the height of the river from one end of the system to the other. Here I am standing on the weir. It stretches from the west bank all the way to the sluice at the end of this channel. Where you can see the trees, they've grown on silt that has accumulated over many years. But underneath the silt, there is a continuation of the weir that's preserved in very good condition. Originally, water flowed over the whole length of it. This is a part of the ancient structure. When it was built, a step was cut at the foot or toe of the weir. Then, on the upstream side, large flat facing stones were placed on edge, secured by oak stakes. Then, working up from the step, there's a substructure of stones that is faced with these flat stones, rather like a dry stone wall, but at an angle. There was no cement used, so the structure is flexible, with all the forces directed down to the step. Pressure from the water squeezes the stones together, so the faster the flow, the stronger the weir becomes. The purpose of the weir is to divert water to the leat. It starts with a sluice, which is used to control the flow of water. The leat is designed to build up a head of water. It has a very gradual downward incline, just enough to keep the water flowing without losing too much height. For this first 300 metres, the fall in level is just 80 centimetres. As we move along, you can see that the leat follows a contour at the foot of the hillside. The houses that you see were built many centuries after the leat. Ahead of us is Paper Mill House. It was built around 1740 with the intention of being a mill at a time that paper was a valuable commodity. But there doesn't appear to be any evidence that it ever actually had a water wheel. More likely that it was built here for access to clean water from the leat. In this next part, the leat bends away from the hillside contour, so that it has to be contained by the embankment on the right-hand side. This change in course must have been deliberate, because underneath the footpath there are stone sluices which were used to irrigate former water meadows between here and the river. At this point, the leat has effectively maintained its height, but the river is now 4.5 metres lower, which you can see on the right hand of the screen. Now, as we pass the bridge to the car park, the leat starts to pick up the pace as we approach Town Mills. In this 70 metres, the leat falls by 75 centimetres. Just before the wheel pit, you can see the cobbled floor with stone sets. There may be other parts of the leat with stone sets. That's something that we've yet to explore. On the right is an old sluice for a bypass channel. This was a flour mill with 2 water wheels, and it continued to operate until 1972. This building replaced the original town mills, which had 4 water wheels and was destroyed by fire. As the water falls into the wheel pit under town mills, it drops by another 78 centimetres. On the other side of town mills, here is the exit from the bypass channel. The Leat now levels out again as it flows under the road bridge and under Holland House. We see the Leat again where it widens to form a pool, accumulating a head of water just before the next mill, and we are now in what was Dulverton's industrial quarter. This building was purpose-built as a silk and crepe mill in 1825 with water-powered looms. After several bankruptcies, it later became a joinery workshop and subsequently a laundry that continued to operate until 2018. It had a large water wheel producing 10 horsepower. Previously, on the same footprint before the silk mill, was Tangier Mill, a fulling mill with 2 water wheels. As we go behind the silk mill, we see what is left of the former woolen factory, which is the oldest surviving mill building, and beyond it is Lower Mill, also built around 1825 and used for grinding animal feed. Here the course of the Leat has been modified. Originally it flowed through the woolen mill and then under Lower Mill. Today it's diverted through a culvert where there once stood a blade mill. On the other side of Lower Mill we can see the original tail race of the Leat, where the water returns to the river. The whole system, including the weir, is almost half a mile long, and the fall in water level from start to end is 6.4 metres or 21 feet. Records show that there were flour mills and fulling mills in Dulverton in the 13th century. 800 years later, the Leat is still flowing. What we've found is that every element of this system has a purpose, from the fall in the river level, the structure of the weir, irrigating water meadows and being able to reuse the water for multiple water mills. It is a remarkable testament to the skill and foresight of those medieval engineers that they managed to survey, plan and construct what has been recognised today as one of the best preserved urban watermill landscapes in England. But it urgently needs repair and restoration. With this objective, the Dulverton Weir Leat Conservation Trust is working with the owners Somerset West and Taunton Council.